And it looks like we are live. Alright, cool. So I'm just going to wait a little bit for people to come in, and then we will get started on some speculation. So once I start seeing some comments, then we can jump right into it. Currently we've got gold team right here, as you can see. So just want to see what everyone's up to today. Going to be talking about that last fighter in Smash Ultimate. I'm super excited. I'm also super nervous, but Smash Bros. Rant, yes! Let's go. I'm going to wait just a couple more seconds, see how many people we can get in here before getting into the actual rants, the actual speculation, talking about Sora. We got gold team right here, as you can see. So this is going to be fun, I hope. I hope this is going to be fun for everybody. So, before I start, I want to ask you guys who are here, is there anyone who you want to see in Smash? Is there anyone you are expecting, anyone you're hoping for, anyone that you don't want to see? Let me know. Hopefully, my stream is turning out okay. It looks like there's a little bit of lag here. But thankfully, this is predominantly an audio-type stream, and I think the audio is coming in fine. So, yeah, let me know right off the bat if there's any characters that you want to see, don't want to see, expect to see. I want to hear all of it, any and all opinions that are out there, I want to know about. So right now, Inkling and Byleth are doing really well. But, that aside, so, yeah, it's going to be, it's going to be a huge day on Tuesday. No matter what happens, it's going to be a huge day. I am both nervous and excited. I want to be more excited, but at the same time, there are so many nerves that are associated. Like, this is the last one, so it doesn't have to end on a high note, but at the same time, you know, we really want it to end on a high note. Oh, man. Hello. Who I want is Shovel Knight, Hollow Knight, and the Cassite? Hold on, let me see if I'm reading that right. Castle Crashers. I thought it said like Cassite Crashers. I'm like, what? Anyway, that's good. That sounds good. I don't really know much about any of those series, so I can't really say one way or the other, but it is interesting. It's interesting to see what people want and what people are hoping for. So I think now's as good as any time to start. The first character that I want to talk about is, of course, Sora for Smash. Now, have you guys seen the leak that's coming out, like the Disney music leak that's been happening? Now, the Armchair Analyst, hey, how's it going? Armchair Analysis, how's it going? And so, the music leak that we've seen is basically, there's this guy who says that he works for Nintendo Disney, not Nintendo Disney Music, sorry. I'm trying to watch the battle while also commentating. I should stop doing that. But the guy works for Disney Music, and he says Nintendo contacted Disney Music a couple weeks ago. Well, not a couple weeks ago. When he said this, it was a couple weeks ago, so this was back in July. And he said that Nintendo contacted him about putting in Kingdom Hearts music for a digital event on October 5th. And it turns out that October 5th is when we're getting our last Smash reveal. So we don't know if this conversation actually happened. Like, we don't know if Nintendo contacted anybody, or even if they did, if it was for, like, a Mii costume or anything like that. As much as I want Sora, I don't see it happening for 3 reasons. I cannot wait to hear these reasons. It's all over the internet. Oh, good. So I don't have to explain much. But it is like, you know, there is the possibility that somebody who worked for Nintendo, or not worked for Nintendo, I keep saying that, who worked for Disney Music, spoke to somebody from Nintendo, and that Nintendo asked for the rights to Kingdom Hearts music for the digital event, and that could mean that Sora is in Smash Bros. Now, here is what I'm thinking. There's this one metaphor that people are using, and I really like it. It's that if a clock is stopped, it is correct 2 times a day. And we all know that on 4chan, there are so many fake leaks out there. And so, one of them is going to be right. So, but the thing is, are they also right about Sora for Smash? Now, if we're going just by the patterns, we see that most of the time, if a leak comes out that gets a lot of people's eyes on it, that normally means that the character isn't happening. And so I'm a little bit nervous for it. So I see it's fake for one main reason, because there was actually multiple posts saying the same thing, possibly by the same person. So if you're talking about the Papagenos one, even Papagenos mentioned that it is more than likely by the same person. And yeah, there were multiple dates on it, but here is something that I discovered. In between that last leak and the leak before that, the person working for Disney Music as a licensing manager, like this is, you can look this up yourself, was fired from their job, and the position became available on September 21st, which was, I believe, 2 days before the direct came out that showed that we were getting our last character on December 5th. Like, you can look this up on the Disney website. So, it is interesting to think about. But at the same time, my brain is so frazzled right now. It's like, there's so much pressure on this last character, and I want to hype responsibly. But again, like Papageno said, that this is going to be our last Smash character, so this is our last chance to get hyped, to get really excited, and I am really excited. Didn't the same thing happen for Banjo? Do you mean like a leak that happened for Banjo? Because I don't know about any leaks that happened for Banjo. I would be interested to hear about that. Is the new character getting announced today? No, it's coming out October 5th. So, reason one, although the leak seems convincing, I can't forget about the other leaks that were just as convincing that turned out to be fake. For example, the Grinch leak. Now, personally, I can't talk for anyone but myself. Now, for myself, this is potentially like the most believable leak that I've seen. I've seen leaks that turned out to be completely true, that I just completely dismissed as fake. The Grinch leak I thought was fake. The concert leak I thought was fake. All these things I think were fake, but then this one comes out and it's like, okay, let's look at this from a statistical standpoint. What are the statistical possibilities of this person getting the date right and the legality of it right? Because it is true that they would have to get separate contracts, separate permissions for this last event, and it would make sense for it to happen in July, which would be pretty close to when Sakurai would potentially be recording and editing his reveal trailer. So I don't know, it is possible. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, first of all, am I looking at it through rose-colored glasses? Am I just getting onto this train because it's Sora, and Sora has been my most wanted character since Sephiroth, basically? And I want to say that the two are completely separate, but I don't know. It is so hard for me to say. Well, you were right about the Grinch leak, about it being fake, yeah. And you know what? If I were to put money on it, I would say that this leak is also fake. The Sora leak. I guess that's what I'm going to call it, the Sora leak. And, I don't want it to be fake, though. I want it to be real. The final fighter is either an indie girl with armor, a shrine maiden, a schoolgirl, a quiet stand user. It's one of those four. I mean, it could be a Pokemon. A Pokemon's not one of those. You never know. Reason 2, the Fighter's Pass pattern is a theory that, although does seem stupid at first, makes more sense the more you look at it. Let me explain, because this is going to be long. I am interested in hearing that, because I came out with a video recently about the final fan rule, and how, like, everything that we're talking about is patterns, but at the same time, patterns could make business sense. It just needs to have like a certain reason for it. Context is key. That is the most important thing. You need to realize context. Like, they're not going to put in a character because they have a dark orchid background, basically. But if they were to add, you know, more boys than girls, that is something that makes business sense, because this is a game that is catered towards predominantly younger males. So that would make more sense. I just want the Castle Crasher. You know what? I hope you get the Castle Crasher in the next game so that we can have Sora right now. But it was the best. I'm going to ignore what you just said, Dakota. I'm going to ignore that. But it's one of those things where I feel like I'm just going to ramble a little bit. I feel like I'm just rambling about, like, yes, Sora is the character that I want most, and Sora is the character that is getting the most hype right now, and that, for that reason alone, I think that it might not happen. But here's what I'm going to say. I think that it is definitely going to be third party, and here's why I'm going to say that it's going to be third party. Nintendo just had a Direct. If it was a Nintendo character to promote a Nintendo game, wouldn't it make sense to promote it at the Nintendo Direct, where their job is specifically to do that? Now, the reason why I think that it was set for a different day is so that they could have a third-party character not interfere with Nintendo while they're having their big moment. You know, they're promoting their own stuff. They don't want to promote a third party in there. So that's why I think that it would be a third party. So that gets rid of the idea of a Pokemon. Of course, I could be wrong with that. I have wanted a style-savvy character. I've wanted Baseball Guy for so long. Like a character from the NES baseball games. No, I understand. Since Xbox is one of the big three... Wait, hold on, I missed one. If one company receives 2 reps in Fighters Pass 2, it would make sense for it to be Xbox. So, yes, I agree with that. But there's a big asterisk with that. From the market research that I have done, from the sources that I have seen, it shows that Xbox is not popular in Japan. Now, the thing about Steve and Banjo is that, well, first of all, Banjo was specifically a character just for Western people. Like, they're doing it just so that people in the West could be happy, while they also gave us Hero, which people in the East could be happy about. So that in itself is an exception. As for Steve, he was the most requested character, I shouldn't say most requested, but the biggest selling game of all time in the entire world. That is something that people all across the world wanted. As for Master Chief, or, you know, one of those characters, I would say any first-person shooter, aside from, like, maybe, like, say, an Octoling or Jonesy, I would say that they have no possibility, just because of the market research that I've done, which says that Japan just doesn't care. This is going to be the last fighter in a Japanese game, and to assume that it's going to be a character that people in Japan don't care about, I just don't see that happening. Of course, I could be wrong. They could break all of my rules, but that's not really a fan rule as much as it is a market rule. At least that's what I'm going to say. That's going to be my reasoning behind it. Why not Doom Guy? There are multiple reasons, and it's not just the whole Xbox thing. I don't know if Doom Guy is an Xbox character. It would make sense for me. It would make sense if I said he was an Xbox character and he isn't, but if he isn't an Xbox character, the big thing is that he does not fit the kind of demographic that Smash appeals to. So, like, for instance, you look at all the characters on the screen right now. You see 3 sword fighters, you see Inkling, who is super cartoony, and you see Min Min, who is an equally cartoony kind of arms fighting character. Doom Guy is more of a Western feel, of course. More people in America care about Doom than people out overseas. And there are also laws about, like the rating that you can have with specific guns, where you point the guns, and of course, Doom Guy is all about huge guns, pointing at people's faces, breaking their skulls, all that, and it just doesn't fit the mold of Smash Ultimate. Even if they were to eliminate all the mature stuff, even if they were to give them small guns like Joker and Bayonetta, it wouldn't be doing the character justice, and I don't feel like enough people would be happy about it. People in the West, people in America, they would super be happy with it, but not so much all around the world. So if we lump in Piranha Plant with the first Fighter Pass, we have a first-party representative, a Sega/Atlas representative, a Square Enix representative, a Microsoft representative, a fighting game representative. Ending off Fighters Pass 1 was a Nintendo representative. Now let's look at a Fighter Pass 2, as the pattern is very similar. Okay, I see where you're getting at here. Like, we had 2 first parties, we had a fighting game character, we had a Square Enix character, and a Microsoft character. And so that would mean that we would likely see a Sega character or an Atlas character, which would mean either Eggman or Nahobino. And both characters are, that is plausible. It does make business sense because it shows me that Nintendo is working with these companies, so they have good relations with them. We could potentially see Nahobino or Dr. Eggman. I think that both of those characters are very likely. But at the same time, I hope not. Like, that's my only reason against it. It's just because I hope not. Like, as much as I love the Sonic series, Eggman isn't my first choice. I would pick many characters before Eggman. And, it doesn't need to be Eggman. It could be multiple different characters from the series. Like, not multiple, but like one of multiple different characters in the series. And Nahobino, I don't know anything of the Shin Megami Tensei series except for the first one that wasn't even localized in America. So I am not the biggest Shin Megami Tensei fan. I would not be very excited for a representative from that game. And that is literally my only reason against them. It's just because I don't feel like it. Not a very good, compelling argument, but it is an argument. Well, it could be that Nintendo and Xbox are teaming up to make Xbox more popular in Japan. I don't think that would make business sense, because even though Nintendo says that they're not competing, they are most definitely competitors. They are different. They are different in different companies within the same industry, and that means that if Xbox were to generate more sales, that would be an immediate loss of sales for Nintendo. Now, of course, Smash Ultimate is a different story, but specifically Nintendo trying to make Xbox more popular in Japan, that would be pushing it for me, in my opinion. Bethesda, Smash was rated T for a time. Was Smash rated T for a time? Like, when was that? Like, was that in America, actually? Because I don't know. I see that it's rated E10 for Smash Ultimate, of course. But I don't know. And if it were rated T, of course they're trying to keep the E10 rating. They're doing everything they can to keep the E10 rating. And I don't think they would do anything that would put that in jeopardy. For a future Smash game, I think that they might be possibly willing to have a T rating. But as for right now, I think that they just want to keep it safe, You can't change the rating once the game comes out, so I thought the theory was stupid at first, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. It does make sense from a business standpoint. I mean, it shows that that these businesses have good relations with each other, and that's the important thing, is that in order for new characters to come to Smash Ultimate, they need to be working well with the companies that they are collaborating with. Which brings me to Disney. Alright, so I actually brought this up in one of my videos. I said that Disney hates Nintendo, and the only thing that they'll ever let Nintendo have is The Incredibles for the GameCube. But after saying that, I immediately went into saying, but that being said, Kingdom Hearts also has 4 games on Nintendo consoles, 5 games now. So it was mainly just a joke. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who are taking that really seriously. Not my comment particularly, but just the idea that Nintendo is stingy with their IPs. Of course, as we just saw with the last Direct, Disney got 2 games on Nintendo consoles. They got a Star Wars game, and they got a straight-up Disney game. Now, does that mean that Sora for Smash has a more likely chance? That is a different story, but not really. It's complicated. So what we're dealing with is, first of all, what we saw in the Nintendo Direct is Disney games that just happen to be licensed by Nintendo, to be in a Nintendo console. What we would be seeing in Smash Ultimate is a Disney character who is in a Nintendo game, and then Disney would just be taking some of the profits, basically. Would they be okay with that? Yes, under certain circumstances, and I might say... Am I back? Hold on. Hang on a second. Okay. Sorry, that took a little bit. I went offline for a minute. But yeah, so what I'm saying is that Disney could potentially bar Nintendo from having that final character. Disney could be the obstacle preventing Sora in Smash Bros. And I were to say that, I would really say that if Sora is not the final character, it would 100% be because of Disney. I would say that Disney would be the only culprit standing in Sora's way. Now, that being said, there are lots of options to choose from. Lots of options. So, Smash Brawl was rated T because of Snake? Huh. That is interesting to know. Brawl is the only Smash game that I didn't play. I didn't own a Wii. I was all about that 360 back during that time. So, I didn't play Brawl, but I did pick up, you know, Smash 4. I was doing Melee before that. And so... hold on, let me read some of these comments. Hey, JT, I don't know if you're still here. I kind of went out for a minute, but I'm back. At the end of the day, Nintendo is a business, and business is what comes first. Yes, and business comes down to money. Of course, it comes down to more than just money, but money is the main culprit there. It is the main concept. Do you think Nintendo has a good relationship with Activision? Depends what you mean by a good relationship. I can't remember the last time that an Activision... Oh, wait, yeah, I do. Crash 4. That was on a Switch console, wasn't it? So, yeah, I would say that Nintendo does have a good working relationship with Activision. So, if we were to see Crash Bandicoot in Smash, I think that is also a legitimate possibility. He has popularity worldwide. He is a character that people want to see. It would make people happy. It would potentially be easy for Nintendo to get, but I've also heard that Activision is a headache to work with sometimes. I don't know if Nintendo would necessarily care, but at the same time, it is something to think about. Like, if a company is difficult to work with, and that makes it more hard for us to get that character into Smash Bros. I'm going to say it right now, I don't like Disney. I don't like Disney either. Here's the thing, is that I am one of the biggest Kingdom Hearts fans you are ever going to find, and I hate Disney. I wish they could take Disney out of Kingdom Hearts. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm sorry if any of you are like die-hard Disney fans. Like, even my dog was named after a Disney character. Like, no joke. But I hate Disney. I'm not a big fan of Disney. While, yes, Sora is more popular, he has another Square Enix character competing for the spot, and that is Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. That is a possibility. Yeah, I'm not going to say that Lara Croft doesn't have a possibility. And here's the thing, is that Tomb Raider sold more than Crash Bandicoot. Tomb Raider had, like, commercials in Japan that were unique to Japan. Like, we didn't have them here in America. And that is something that Crash Bandicoot does not have. And when I say commercials, I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about, like, credit cards featuring Lara Croft in it. So that would be a very likely shot for Lara Croft. But going back earlier to what I said about demographics is that this game is catered mostly towards younger males. Lara Croft does not fit that demographic as much, and we have seen 4 different girls in this Fighter's Pass alone, I think. Hold on, let me count. There's Min Min, Pyra, Mithra, Alex. Am I missing anybody? I think it's just those 4. Pyra, Mithra, Min Min, and Alex. So if we were to get another girl, ooh, of course it seems so stupid, like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's a girl. They need girls in Smash 2. Well, we got a whole bunch, and at some point of the day, it's got to be like, okay, Smash really is a boys' club, and so if they want to cater to their demographic, they might want to add more male characters. Hence why most of the characters that we're seeing in speculation, Crash, Master Chief, Doomslayer, Rayman, Sora, all these are males. It's because one of the reasons is because it's just catered towards the male demographic. My internet died. Oh, trust me, it was just mine. Part of me thinks that the last character will be Phoenix Wright. I want to actually comment on that. So, it is so surprising to me for 2 reasons. One, Phoenix Wright doesn't have any representation in Smash, not even a flipping spirit. Whereas Rayman got a spirit, Shantae got a spirit, and we have nothing for Phoenix Wright? Really? And not only that, but we have had 0 Capcom reps in either of the Fighters Passes. Like, if Phoenix Wright doesn't turn out to be the last DLC character, I'm going to have a huge question mark over my head. You could also say the same thing with Professor Layton. Professor Layton actually sold more copies than Phoenix Wright, but again, he has 0 representation in Smash. It's one of those things that just like blows my mind. I love Style Savvy, don't get me wrong, I am a huge Style Savvy fan, but we have Style Savvy spirits, we have Style Savvy music, and it's just like, how did that get a spot over Phoenix Wright and Professor Layton? So, I'm not saying that Phoenix Wright is going to be the last character, but I do have a huge question mark over my head. I was really expecting the last one to be Phoenix Wright, and it turned out to be Kazuya, and I've got my own rant about that one. I'll get to that later. She could be who Square Enix picked if Disney blocked the Sora request. You were talking about Lara Croft? Yeah, that is a possibility. I need to play Smash 64, only game I didn't play. Smash 64 is fun in its own right. You know, it's not really anything compared to Melee, but it is fun in its own right. Like, when I was in my first semester of college and people brought their N64, we would play Smash Bros, and I would use Captain Falcon and then just beat up everybody. It was so much fun. Crash 4 is on Switch. Yep, that is one example of how Activision does have a working relationship with Nintendo. Lore is surprisingly popular in both Japan and the West. That is true. She could be a potential character. One first-party character I would for the last L. I'm not sure what you mean, but if we're talking about the last character being an L as in a loss, I would agree with you unless it's Style Savvy or Baseball Guy. Like, those are the only 2 first-party characters that I really want at this point, if I'm being honest. I don't like Disney because they own everything, basically. Oh, you don't even know. Like, you think you know, you don't even know. The Texas Longhorns. The University of Texas. Their broadcasting station is owned by Disney. It is insane how much they own. Like, I could end up making a video about that at some point, but hopefully I don't have to. When you say you hate Disney, do you mean the company or the movies or both? I would say everything, like all of the above, within the past, I want to say like 10 or so years. I think that the company is, outgrowing itself. They're becoming more corporatized. They just don't have the same principles that they had earlier, and their movies are kind of, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, their movies suck lately. Unless you're talking about Marvel movies, and even then, I have grown tired of seeing Marvel all the time. The Disney Star Wars movies, I don't think I have to say anything about that. So we'll just move on from that one. I missed a couple comments. Sorry for the last comment. The last DLC I would personally want is Pokemon from Mystery Dungeon series. I've never played the Mystery Dungeon series, although, that being said, oh boy, here comes a completely new discussion. Here we go. The Mystery Dungeon series was made by Spike Chunsoft. The first, I think it was 4 or 5 Dragon Quest games were made by Spike Chunsoft. A character we do not have in Smash yet is a Danganronpa character who is huge both in the West and in Japan. We are getting Danganronpa games on the Switch. We could potentially see a Danganronpa character in Smash. I would be excited for that. If it's not Sora, then I would want a Danganronpa character. That would be so much fun. It would be so cool, in my opinion. I know that a lot of people don't really know much about Danganronpa, and to that I would say play it, unless like you are young, in which case don't even go near it. It is definitely a more mature game, but like Bayonetta, like Snake, like Joker, they can be true to the series while also toning it down for an E10 audience. That, I do see that as a possibility. I still need to buy Mythra and Kazuya. Get on that, man! I don't see it as a problem for Lara Croft or Rayman, but fans love to bring up the fact that they are already in Brawlhalla. Yeah, I don't even consider Brawlhalla a factor. I specifically keep myself from learning about Brawlhalla, specifically because it just doesn't matter when it comes to Smash speculation. And speaking of that, let me get into the fact that I was disappointed with Kazuya. The reason why I was disappointed with Kazuya was specifically just because I have been so involved in Smash speculation. Like, before I was in Smash speculation, I was excited for literally everybody. Terry got announced, I was like, yeah, let's go, Terry! I don't know who you are, but I'm so excited for you, he looks so cool. And here we are, like, after months of speculation from me, and Tekken is a game that I actually grew up on. I actually love Tekken. And if I was not in Smash speculation, I would have been so hyped for Kazuya. But I wasn't, because there are all these other characters that I could have chosen ahead of Kazuya that, you know, didn't make the cut. And do I regret that? And the answer is no. The reason for that is because as much as I wasn't excited for Kazuya because of all the other characters, I had months of fun speculating. Like, even just speculating for Min Min, I was having the time of my life. And so, yeah, I will sacrifice a little bit of, you know, a disappointment when Kazuya comes out, if it means that I can have so much fun in the meantime. And so I see a lot of people right now who are saying, don't get your hopes up, we don't want your dreams to get crushed. I am totally opposed to that idea. I think you should have a blast right now. Have as much fun as you possibly can, because this is the last time we're going to be able to have this fun. And even though it could end up being a character that disappoints you, it could be a character that, you know, you legitimately want. Imagine if you'd been hyping up Steve for over a year, and then all of a sudden you saw Steve. That feeling, I can't even imagine it. So, if I've been hyping up Sora this whole time, and it does turn out to be Sora, then I don't know if I'll be able to keep my emotions in check. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what I'd be able to do about that. Ooh, I've seen a lot of comments come in. Waluigi! I do like Waluigi. I would like Waluigi in Smash. Of course, because of the assist trophy, I don't think that it's possible, but I would be okay with that. I haven't played a single Phoenix Wright game. I would definitely recommend playing the first two. I kind of got bored after the third one, but the first two were phenomenal. I definitely recommend. If you can't play the game, I would recommend watching a Let's Play of the game. It's mostly just there for the story, so the gameplay itself isn't all that great, but if you just watch a Let's Play of it, that'll be fine, and you'll get the whole Phoenix Wright experience. Anyway, I'm going to continue explaining the Fighters Pass pattern. When we look at the second Fighters Pass, most of the representatives come from the same companies as the first Fighters Pass. Yeah, that is true. They do have good working relationships with each other. Same argument I made in my tier list video. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to my tier list video, a lot of the things that I said were reaching, but at the same time, I'm still going to stick by it. I'm still going to stick by almost everything that I said in my tier list video, because it is a business, and not to toot my own horn here, but I do know a whole lot about business. Like, that is my area of expertise. That is my college major, so I will talk like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the business aspect of things. I'm 99% sure the final character will be from a new franchise, as in the music section, in Vault, or in selecting music before battle. There is one empty spot. When it comes to that, I think that the one empty spot was just to make it a perfect square, a perfect rectangle. And so for that, I would be a little bit shaky on, because we're probably going to see a lot of not perfect squares. Although I would personally love perfect squares, they make me happy. We're not going to see that all the time. Minecraft Steve is from Microsoft, Kazuya is from a fighting game, just like Terry, and Sephiroth is from Square Enix. Yep, still following that pattern. I've played and finished all the Danganronpa games. Dude, they are great, aren't they? I love the Danganronpa series. They are so much fun. Like, you always think you know what's going on, and then all of a sudden you don't, and it's like, what? What just happened? It's like retcons, but retcons you can understand, so it's not as complicated as Disney, or not as complicated as Kingdom Hearts. And you get it, and it's fun. If you haven't played Danganronpa, I really recommend playing Danganronpa. I don't think you understand. I am broke. Get money. What about Resident Evil? If anything, it's Capcom best-selling franchise. Leon Kennedy is possible. I'm not going to say that Leon Kennedy isn't a character that we should focus on, because he is. But he did have that Spirit event post-game, and I don't know if that has anything to do with a fighter's chances. It could just be Sakurai's way of saying, oh, we're not planning for this character to be in the game, so let's give them their own Spirit event. That is something to think about, but Leon Kennedy is still possible. Looking forward to Danganronpa S? Me too. You knew who Terry was? Hello, you knew who Terry was beforehand? That is impressive, because I know so many video games, but I had no idea who Terry was. Sora is my most wanted, Crash is my second. Sora is my most wanted, my second most wanted is a Danganronpa rep, probably, unless we're still counting Agumon, but I sincerely doubt Agumon at this point. Back when we didn't have any Bandai Namco reps, I would still be on that train, but because we got Kazuya, that pretty much dampened my hopes for Agumon. Sorry. What baffles me is the fact that Level 5 doesn't have anything in Smash. Is Level 5 a video game? Like, is that a game franchise? I don't know anything about Level 5. I just hope we don't get another Fire Emblem character. I do, actually. Like, unironically. Like, I'm not just doing that for the memes. But Anna is one of the characters who is reoccurring in the Fire Emblem games who has no representation in Smash. And seeing Anna in the game would be so much fun. I love Anna. I'm really hoping the final character is going to be Amaterasu. I don't know how that would work. Like, of course, we have Duck Hunt, and we have, not Venusaur, Ivysaur. So those are both quadruped characters, and so it could work, but I don't know how. I'm not going to say, no, it's not going to happen, but I do wonder how likely it is. I don't know. That's one of those question marks for me. I don't know basically anything about Amaterasu or that game series, so I'm just going to leave that as a question mark for me. Please be Crash. It could. There's a possibility. I would say that Crash is an up-there candidate. I mean, Crash checks most of the boxes necessary to become DLC, so I would say it is possible. My college major is laziness. Are you in college? The pattern of Fighters Pass 2 seems to be first, third, first, third, so the last character will be third party. I think that's reaching a little bit. I think that kind of logic is like Dark Orchid theory kind of reaching speculation. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it is, you know, I wouldn't put too much emphasis on that one. They own Professor Layton and Yokai Watch, and yet neither of them have even spirits. Yokai Watch, that is an interesting one. First of all, I didn't know if Nintendo completely owned Yokai Watch. I thought that they might have been worked on with another company like Bandai Namco or something like that. But again, a Yokai Watch character is another possibility, like Jibanyan, I think is a meh possibility, along with a Pokemon. I don't think that it's going to be anybody first party, just because we had the Nintendo Direct. That was the perfect time to announce a first party character, and since they didn't do it at the Nintendo Direct, I think that it's going to be third party just for that reason. The only company that hasn't been represented in this pass, but in this first Sega Atlas, is Sega Atlas, and this is why I think Eggman is coming. It's a possibility. I'm not going to say that it's not a possibility because, you know, we've seen a lot of Sonic representation in the game in the form of Tails got a Mii costume, Shadow got an assist trophy, Knuckles got both, Eggman has a spirit in the game. I think Amy Rose has a spirit in the game. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that one. I think the Chows have spirits. I think the Chowticks have spirits. So Sonic right now is pretty well represented in the game, just not in terms of fighters. They only have the one fighter. So I don't know. It's hard for me to say. Sakurai might just be like, yeah, we have enough there. We're just going to move on to somebody who has no representation. So if I were to put money on it, I would say let's look at someone else, but I could be completely wrong on that. Since Min Min and Pyramithra are both first-party representatives, that just leaves Atlas and Sega. That means that the last fighter will most likely be from a game like Shin Megami Tensei or something. I don't want to say most likely. I want to say it's possible, but I don't want to say most likely. Koei Tecmo and Level 5. Oh, okay, so it's a Koei Tecmo rep. We have not seen a Koei Tecmo rep that I know of, although I don't know much about that company. I don't know much about Bethesda. So, you know, keep me informed on that one at least. Recently, I would be happy if Raiden from Metal Gear series makes it in, because I am obsessed with the Metal Gear Rising soundtrack. You know, that is another one where it's just like, I don't know much about the series in general, so it could be a possibility. And I have done so much research. There are so many possibilities. There are so many games out there. There's so much speculation. Of course, if I'm going to go with one, I'm going to go with Sora, specifically because, first of all, he is probably the biggest game out there without a representative right now. I think, if I heard HMK right, he said that Sora broke the record for the most appearances in JRPGs, and you know Sakurai loves his JRPGs, so it is... I don't want to get myself too hyped for Sora, but at the same time I do. We haven't brought up Ryu Hayabusa yet. I would say that there are a lot of things that go against Ryu Hayabusa, none of which that like straight up deconfirm him, but the fact that there are so many things that, you know, are kind of like eyebrow raisers, I would say that maybe not Ryu Hayabusa. First of which is that his games recently have been getting like really mature ratings, and so of course that in and of itself doesn't deconfirm, but it is something to think about. There's also the fact that there's another character on the roster named Ryu. But of course, we have Roy and Roy, so... But the thing is that it's not Roy and Roy, it's Roy and Bowser Jr. So it's different in that sense. If you were to say I main Roy, people would know exactly what you're talking about. If you were to say I main Ryu, then that would create confusion. Again, it's not something that deconfirms a character, but it is something to think about. And another thing to think about is that even if he plays different, even if he plays completely different from everyone on the roster, he is similar to other characters on the roster. If not for anything else, just aesthetically in and of itself. And so, Ninja Gaiden is a huge series. It has connections with Nintendo. But with all this, and the fact that there are other options they can go with, I'm going to say... I could be wrong, but I'm going to look at other characters for that one. I feel as if Sephiroth was a character to please the Kingdom Hearts fans, since working with Disney might have been tough for Nintendo and Sakurai. That is true. That is true, because I wouldn't say that he was there to replace Sora, because Sephiroth is hype in and of himself. He is his own character with his own hype, with his own series. But the fact of the matter is that, yes, Sora and Sephiroth were in the same game together, not once, but multiple times. And so that is, if I were to say one thing deconfirms Sora, it would be just that one fact. Just the fact that we already have Sephiroth, specifically in this Fighter's Pass. But don't make me sad. I think you should try Shovel Knight Castle Crasher and Hollow Knight. I should try those out. Once the Smash speculation stuff dies out, I might look into more video games. While I prefer Crash, Spyro would bring almost equally as hype. You know, here's something that people don't know. That my first my first Spyro the Dragon game was on a Nintendo console. It was on the Game Boy Advance. That was my first Spyro game. So yes, he does have connections with Nintendo, and while I don't know if he's, a front runner, he is a possibility. Like, of course, a lot of people will just try to ignore that to say that they want Crash instead, but Spyro is a possibility. I would like to see Venoct from Yokai Watch. I don't know much about the Yokai Watch series. It's just not my cup of tea, but I do know that it is popular, and so if Yokai Watch was to get a representative, I do think that it would be Jibanyan, but I could be wrong on that. Out of Sega Atlas and SNK, the latter will likely never get a second rep. I mean, what kind of King of Fighters and Fatal Fury? What characters, what games aside from those? That is something that I just plain don't know. I don't think it would happen, but I think it would be interesting if the final character in Smash was Captain N. I'm not going to lie to you, I would prefer Beautiful Joe. I think Beautiful Joe would be a more hype character that would, fit the same kind of genre, if I were being honest. So, hold on, my stream didn't go, I did it. Okay, we're good. Out of Sonic, I would like to see Silver and Metal. Hold on, is my stream going out? I can't tell. I'm getting super laggy right now. But bear with me, I promise I'm still online. So, out of all the Sonic characters, I would like to see Shadow. Like, if I'm being real, Shadow or Amy Rose. Amy Rose would possibly be more likely, but not for other reasons that I mentioned earlier. Crash the Knight, sup? They could just call him Hayabusa by itself. Yeah, that is possible. They could just call Ryu Hayabusa just Hayabusa. That would also work. If Dr. Eggman gets in and his down air isn't the swinging ball, it would be a crime. Well, hardy har har, it's the egg with most. Call me Robotnik. Sonic, time to go or you toast. I appear in every act with my Eggman ride. New moves, new plan, no place to hide. Oh, I'm sorry. I always love doing that whenever Eggman comes up. In DOA series, characters often referred Ryu Hayabusa by his surname, so we could see just like plain Hayabusa. So in DOA series, Dead or Alive, that's what it is, Dead or Alive. So is that in the Western version or the Eastern version? Because I know that in the Eastern version, they look at surnames completely different than they do in the West. Like, for instance, in Danganronpa, they mainly refer to characters by their last names, but in the American version, they refer to them by their first names, their Western names. Like Makoto Naegi from Danganronpa, he's referred to as Naegi in the Japanese version and Makoto in the English version. So that's just something to keep in mind. I don't know what they do in the Dead or Alive series. I know who everyone was before Smash. Like, everyone? That's impressive. You were a gamer. Like, props to you, my friend, for being a pro gamer. That leads me to my third reason. Since Sephiroth got in Smash, Sora's chances have gotten very low, and I just don't see Sakurai including two Square characters, even though Sora is technically Disney. So, I agree and disagree, because while, yes, I do think that Sora is looking to diversify as much as he can, I also think that we should give more credibility to the characters who already are, like, if we're going third party, we need to give more credence to the characters who already have a company in Smash Bros. Meaning that if we're going to say Square Enix, like, we now know that Square Enix has a good working relationship with Nintendo. So that means that we could be more likely to see more Square Enix characters. And here's something else that I want to mention. The person who made Sora, Tetsuya Nomura, he has had a relationship with Sakurai for years, as we have seen. And so, if we were to say that any character is more than likely, I would say that maybe Sora, because of that relationship itself. Because when it comes down to it, business is also about politics and friendships and people you know. And so that is something to think about as well. But that's also me getting Sora really hype. And I don't know if I should be getting Sora as hype as I'm doing. But regardless, my first Spyro game was also on the Nintendo and on the... Wait a minute, he had games on the Wii? I didn't know about that. Like, the only Spyro game that I knew of was the one on the Game Boy Advance, but if he has more games on the Nintendo consoles, then shoot, maybe we're, like, sleeping on Spyro a little bit. Sora is completely Disney, so Sephiroth doesn't deconfirm him, and besides that, multiple characters per company is a fan rule. I don't want to say that Sora is completely Disney. Like, he is a Disney character that was licensed by, or developed by Square Enix. He was a Disney licensed character that was published by Square Enix. So it is both. No matter how you look at it, it is both. And regardless, Disney always consults Tetsuya Nomura first before they do anything with Sora. They always consult Nomura first. But again, like I just said, Nomura has good relationships with Sakurai, so... Oh, I should not be doing this to myself, but I'm going to. I feel like if Sakurai wasn't going to make any characters playable, that they would had made Mii customs, just like Dante. So, RE characters. Tell me what those are really quick, because I'm not sure I'm following with that one. If there were to be another Sonic rep, I would want Silver. I still want Amy Rose or Shadow. Those are my top two choices that I would pick for a Sonic rep. And, you know, I think that Shadow is deconfirmed because of his assist trophy. And I think that Amy Rose is deconfirmed because it's the last fighter. Like, if this was, you know, 3 fighters ago, I would have said that, yeah, Amy Rose has a chance. But I think that it's just too late for Amy Rose. I think it's too late for a lot of characters that just... Of course, it's a fan rule that this last character needs to be hype, but it's also a fan rule that this last character is going to be a letdown, like the pattern we've seen. Oh, there's Corrin and Incineroar and Olimar. Yeah, but this is a completely different story. Like, if we were to look at the patterns that we saw before, I myself was sure of this pattern before. Not the same pattern, but let me explain. Every single E3 where a Smash character was revealed, there were multiple characters revealed for years. We're talking about base roster of Smash 4 here. And in this last E3, we only got one character reveal. Just the one. And it's like, that has never happened before, and by that we just know that, first of all, context is key, and second, that Nintendo just doesn't play by the rules. They don't care. They'll add flipping Math Blaster for all we care. And so, I don't know what caused that tension. I don't know what I was talking about there. It was just that it surprised me so much that E3 only had one rep, and that was the perfect time to reveal 2 reps, because now there is all this pressure on the final character, and if it is not like the ultimate character, no pun intended, but like if it is not the ultimate character to end the series, to end the Fighter's Pass, then they screwed up. Like, no lie, I know that we're telling ourselves not to get too excited for that exact reason, but Nintendo set themselves up for that one if that's the case. Disney has good relations with lots of video game companies and have good relations with Nintendo to allow Ralph in Sonic Transformed, Marvel in Fortnite, and Pirates in Sea of Thieves, so Sora is fine. Yeah, that is definitely true. All those things are true. But when it comes down to it, it's a different story because the Fighter's Pass has a limited quantity of characters that they can choose from. And so if Disney is difficult to work with in one sense, then Nintendo might just say, you know what, as much as we could make this work, we're just going to choose someone else who would be just as hyped for lots of people who will, you know, be less of a headache to work with. And so that's the part that scares me. Since Sora is owned by Disney, I feel as if that gives him less of a chance because Disney is known for its cartoons and films. Did you not know about Disney's entire subdivision of video games? Like, they have an entire division for it. Actually, now that I think about it, they might have gone bankrupt on that one. I don't know. But to put that into perspective, there's this one time when Disney did a collaboration, a video game collaboration with Square Enix. They called it Kingdom Hearts. So yeah, I'm going to say that in and of itself, just because of the whole, they're known for films and cartoons, I wouldn't say that holds any credence to whether or not Sora would be getting into Smash. That's just my own thoughts on it. Skull Kid and Majora's Mask would be nice too. Again, it's an assist trophy, so I'm going to say all assist trophies are off the table. All DLC Mii costumes are off the table. I'm going to say that all spirit events that happened post-game are off the table. And another thing to remember is that all the spirits who turned into DLC characters were first party. So that is another thing to keep in mind. Mira says, hello. Well, hello to you too. I'm glad you came by. I'm glad to see you here. The rule is video game characters only, which Sora is. The company doesn't matter. That is completely true. And here's the interesting part about that, is that Pit is not a video game character. He is a mythological character. So where's the rule for that? And I understand this, like, you don't have to get IPs in order to get Pit in your game. You can just, you know, throw him in as like, oh yeah, I'm using Pit. Like, you can use Hercules without consulting Disney. You can't use the Hercules version that Nintendo specifically made, but you can use Hercules because he's his own character. You don't need IPs for it. But again, I don't know any video games that utilize Hercules. Is there anybody who knows of a video game that uses Hercules that is not based off of a TV show or a movie or anything like that? If you know of any Hercules games, let me know, and I will start, you know, spamming the hashtag Hercules for Smash. Bosses are out too. So you're saying that you don't think that Porky or Taboo could be possible? Or are you saying that, like, Master Hand wouldn't be possible, Rathalos? Because, I mean, if any one boss were to get in, I would assume that it would be Pokey from the Earthbound series. That is still a possibility. I think that he might be a little clunky, but who knows? This is Sakurai we're talking about. He can do basically anything that he wants, and he will make it work. Oh, that was a nice arid bar by Byleth right there. That was really nice. Who's winning? Inkling is winning. That's really cool. They did it so that they can lower the hype for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, which was originally coming October 5th. I think that it was coincidence. I really don't think that Nintendo cares too much about Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. I don't think they were trying to take the wind out of their sails or anything. Of course, Nintendo tries to say that they're not competitors, even though they are. But even with that said, I don't think that Nintendo is, you know, I don't think they're trying to sabotage All-Star Brawl in any way. I don't think they would do that. The Mii costumes are actually going to not be seen as deconfirmations, but additional representation. So even if highly requested characters are Mii costumes like Phoenix Wright, at least they're still in. If Sora ended up as a Mii costume, I'm not going to lie, I would be really sad. I'd be like, why? Why did this have to happen? Why couldn't he just been a fighter? Of course, I will buy that Mii costume, but I will do it with sadness. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Mii costumes? Would you prefer that the character just not get in, or would you prefer that they end up as Mii costumes? I know it seems crazy to think, oh yeah, well, just they're in the game. At least there's that, even if they're Mii costumes. But it would crush me if a character that I really wanted got in. The only exceptions are Sans and Shantae and Cuphead, and Vault Boy too. Just because they're characters that, like, nobody expected to be in the game, and so the fact that they got in as Mii costumes, with most of them with music tracks. That is actually really cool, and so I think that is a different story. But for a highly requested character like Dante, I'd be like, no, I didn't want this. Although if I'm being real, I'm probably going to get the Dante Mii costume at some point, regardless. I'm surprised we haven't gotten a new Zelda character since Brawl. Well, think about it this way. What Zelda characters are there? I mean, Zelda is a game that is predominantly about items. And so that is why Zelda has the most items in Smash Bros. They predominantly use the same characters. Link, Ganondorf, Zelda. And of course they add, other characters such as Impa and the champions and such like that. But it's a different story, they don't have the same kind of impact as the other characters in Zelda. And the fact of the matter is that we still, whether or not you like it, we have 6 Zelda characters in Smash Bros. Even if we haven't gotten a new one since Brawl, we have 6 Zelda characters in Smash. I'm pretty sure the Sakurai Presents and Nick All-Stars sharing the same date is coincidence. Nintendo probably planned the date months ago. I totally agree with that. I think it's coincidence. Who knows? Maybe it was intentional, but I think it was coincidence. Taboo used to be my most wanted character. Again, I've never played... I shouldn't say never, but I didn't play Brawl. So I played it once at a friend's house, and I really liked Pokemon Trainer, particularly Ivysaur. I had so much fun with that. But yeah, I don't know much about the Brawl series. I don't know about the bosses they had in there. I know that Taboo was a villain. I know that Pokey was a villain. And so, if any villain were to get in as a playable character, I do think that it would be Pokey from the Earthbound series. In Ultimate, Porky is still in since he isn't a boss in the game yet. Yes, that is true. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about Porky. He's hit or miss for me. And I think a lot of people will be happy, but a lot of people will be like, really, this is the last character? But I don't have that much connection to the Earthbound series, so I can't say one way or the other. I am okay if characters like Master Chief become a Mii costume. Oh yeah, Master Chief would be sick as a Mii gunner. I would buy that any day. And if I were to give my top 5 right now of characters that have a possibility, more so than others, if nothing else in terms of Smash speculation, then I would say number 1 is Sora, number 2 is a Danganronpa rep, number 3 would be Master Chief. Again, we're just going by Smash speculation standards, so number 4 would be Waluigi, and then number 5 would be Crash Bandicoot for me. Of course, there are other characters that could potentially change my mind and be like, oh yeah, now that you mention it, I would much rather have that character in Smash. But for the time being, just because we're at our final character and, this is the last character, those are the 5 that I would choose before anyone else that I can think of. Again, if you have any more suggestions, let me know. Honestly, I prefer Sora didn't get in at all than as a Mii costume. It would hurt too much. It's like he's so close yet so far. I wouldn't crash if he was a deluxe Mii. If Sora ended up as a Mii costume, yeah, it would hurt too much. I know a lot of people who say that if Crash were to get in as a Mii costume, it would be better if they just didn't add him at all. I know that sounds petty, but at the same time, our emotions matter here. It really does matter that, like, okay, we were so close, but it didn't end up happening, and I just don't know if I'd be able to take that. He isn't a spirit or a boss, which raises an eyebrow speculation-wise. If you're talking about Porky, then yeah, it's similar with Phoenix Wright. It's like, same thing with Professor Layton. Why do these guys not have spirits? When was Jibanyan, when was Yokai Watch created? I'm pretty sure it was like early 2010s, maybe mid 2010s. So it also is a little surprising that Jibanyan doesn't have a spirit. But, there's a whole bunch of characters that just don't get spirits. And so it's like, there's always going to be eyebrows raised because there are so many characters that could be in Smash, that deserve to be in Smash, that have earned a spot in Smash. that just aren't going to get in because we only have 84, 85, somewhere around there. We only have that many characters at the end of the day. Somebody has to miss the cut. And that is the sad part. I wouldn't mind Crash if he was a deluxe me. Yeah, if Crash was a deluxe me, I would be okay with that. But he would need to be like a deluxe me, because if you tried doing to the Mii costume what you did with like KK Slider, for instance, where it's just like a Crash head on top of a blank expression, that would just be too weird. I wouldn't want Crash at that point. I remember someone telling me that since the main selling point of Kingdom Hearts is Disney, that it would be hard to represent the series without it, which I do understand, but I don't know about. So I think that a big selling point of Kingdom Hearts, a big part of the lore, has been Disney stuff, but at the same time, Kingdom Hearts has evolved so much that at this point, Kingdom Hearts just works better without the Disney aspects to it. Like, there's so much original content in Kingdom Hearts. There is an entire lore around Kingdom Hearts, like Organization 13, Xehanort, the X-Blade, Roxas, Vanitas, Aqua, Terra, I could go on and on. Axel, Kairi, Riku. There's so much to pull from this series that has nothing to do with Disney. And so I think that we can have a good Sora representation with literally zero aspects to it. Like, the big thing that I'm worried about is Sora's Keyblade, particularly just because he has Mickey Mouse on his Keyblade. Like, the little keychain that he has at the end has the Mickey Mouse ears. If Sora were to get in, would he keep the Mickey Mouse emblem? Like, Mickey Mouse and Donald were both in Smash Bros. Brawl in the Chronicle. I don't know how many people know that, but yes, it does say in Smash Brawl, Mickey. What's possible? Actually, now that I think about it, Phoenix Wright is more possible than Waluigi. So change Waluigi to Phoenix Wright in my official Smash speculation most wanted. Crap, did my internet go out again? I'm sorry about my crappy connection. This happens when I stream sometimes. Sora in Smash, Crash Bandicoot me. Again, you gotta hope that it's a good me. I'm scared of what they would do with the Mii costume. Top 5, I would personally want Master Chief, Grovyle from Mystery Dungeon, Crash Bandicoot, Heavy Weapons Guy, and Ezio from Assassin's Creed. Now that's interesting because we did get an Assassin's Creed Mii costume. I don't think it was Ezio. I think it was Altair, wasn't it? I'm not really sure on the details myself, but you know, I don't know. I don't know anything about Smash. I know nothing about anything. When every single other subspace boss are a spirit, yeah, there's so many spirits in the game, but at the same time, so many spirits that aren't in the game. It's crazy. Imagine if the characters that got revealed was Roxas instead of Sora. I would be okay with that, especially if it means that he gets 2 Keyblades. Holy crap, don't get me hyped for Roxas. I want Sora. Do not get me hyped for another Kingdom Hearts rep. Although, here's another tangent. So I have heard, of course I have nothing to back this off on, but I have heard that Sakurai might not want Sora specifically because it wouldn't work. It wouldn't feel right for Sora to be running around without his Disney pals, but Roxas has 0 Disney pals. He has 0 pals in general, except for Xion and Axel. And so, if Roxas were to get in, just think 358 over 2 days music. Oh gosh, that would be so much fun. Either way, Roxas or Sora, that would be so hype. I think Roxas would be great as an alt skin for Sora. Ooh, here we go. Let me go into the alts for Sora. So, I am not going to say that any of his dry forms would be good as alt costumes, specifically because I want that to be part of his mechanic. I want him to have his dry forms in his moveset somehow. So let's go into it. So his first costume would be the Kingdom Hearts 3. I think that would be the regular costume that he uses. Number 2 would be his costume from Kingdom Hearts 1. The third one would be his costume from Kingdom Hearts 2. Fourth would be his outfit from Dream Drop Distance. He could also have a... Hold on, how many am I up to? Is that 4? So then he would have a Roxas alt, a Ventus alt, maybe one for... it's hard to say. One for Kairi? Maybe... No. Let's do it one for Riku. And then the last one would be his darkness form. I don't remember what his darkness form is called. It's like when you're in Kingdom Hearts 3 and then your HP goes down to the very bottom and then you turn into like this darkness Sora. That would be his last ult in my opinion. That's something that they do in Smash Ultimate, so it would make sense for that to happen. But, you know, if they don't add dry forms, then I would really hope that they would add all 4 of those as his costumes. And then just his other alts would be Ventus, Roxas, and that Shadow form. That would be my alt. If I could give him all the alts, that's what I would do. They could have a Smash symbol instead. Yeah, I've thought about that. I don't know. Maybe. Again, we're going to see on Tuesday, and I cannot wait for Tuesday to happen just so that this can all be over so that my heart rate can calm down. All I'm going to say is egg, October 5th, 2021. I'm going to hurt myself. Like, I'm going to hurt both my brain and my heart doing this. My dog just farted and I'm considering leaving the room. No, stay. Your dog needs the support. Trust me. He's feeling embarrassed. All your dog needs right now is love and comfort, so you need to stay. With the Insanity Island theme. Oh, Crash has a deluxe me and with the Insanity theme. Honestly, at that point, that would be cool. Like, I'm wondering, for the Crash fans out there, what would you prefer? Would you prefer that Crash not get in at all? Or would you prefer that he has a deluxe costume with Insanity Beach? Let me know what you guys think about that one. I would be totally interested to hear about that. And they have the Mii costume the guy spoke through a megaphone in during the famous... You're saying that the Mii costume would be the guy shouting from the microphone? I want Crash as a Mii costume. I want Crash as a Mii costume so bad right now. I'm just gonna make a video of me using that, like, with the open face, where you just have that emotionless Mii face. I'm gonna, like, yell at Nintendo. That's awesome. I think Sora could have a mechanic for a double form change where he uses the Kingdom Key, but once it levels up, he uses Oathkeeper and Oblivion. It would be our first dual wielder and Roxas alt. So then we're getting into a completely different kind of idea. What about his gimmicks? What would Sora's gimmicks be? Would it be dry forms? Would it be... I've heard HMK mention, like, drop-down menu similar to what Shulk's Monado arts are like, and depending on which one you use, changes the magic that Sora uses, like Blizzard, Fire, Wind, that kind of thing. Would he have a comeback mechanic? Would he have 2 Keyblades? What would his final smash look like? And so there's so much that you can do with Sora that I don't want to say that it doesn't make sense not to add Sora, but I am going to say, forgive me ahead of time. I'm serious, forgive me ahead of time. That if we do not get Sora, I will be disappointed. Yeah, I think that any character that is not Sora will be a disappointment. It will not feel like everyone is here. That is my own personal thought. Will I be excited for the character? Probably, hopefully. I would still be excited for the character. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I would be disappointed. Because this is the last character, this is the last chance, and it means that Sora just didn't make the cut. Of course, I would still continue making Kingdom Hearts content, but now there wouldn't be the possibility of Sora in Smash. And here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say this to all of you. If Sora does get into Smash Ultimate, and you haven't played the Kingdom Hearts games, I want everybody here to watch my series on the Kingdom Hearts timeline so that you can actually understand what is going on. Because, as we all know, that series is probably the most complicated series in existence. More complicated than Metal Gear. So yes, if Sora gets in, I want promises from you guys that you will watch the Kingdom Hearts timeline just so that you can understand the character that is actually being represented in Smash. But if it's not Sora, then, you know, you have that off your conscience. You don't need to watch it. Unless you want to, of course. I am choosing not to monetize any of my Kingdom Hearts timeline videos just because the whole point is so that people can learn about Kingdom Hearts, so that they can get into Kingdom Hearts, so that they can understand the plot, the storyline, what's going on, who these characters are, why everything is happening. It is very complicated. I spent a lot of time researching this because even I get confused sometimes, but hopefully my series will make things less complicated for you. Have I seen Papagenos' videos? Yeah, of course. I've seen all of Papagenos' videos recently. So I have seen the Sora leak, and there is credibility to it, but at the same time, if I were to put money on it, I would say still probably not true, but I am hoping that it is true. Of course, I am going to hope that it is true. I just want to beat people with a shovel blade. Beat people with a keyblade! What would you pick as Sora's stage? Hold on, let me make sure that my internet didn't go out on me. Okay. So, what would I pick as Sora's stage? For me, it would be Dive into the Heart, Twilight Town, or The World That Never Was. With Heartless and Nobody's has stage hazards for the latter. That is tough, because, of course, we have Dive to the Heart, we have Destiny Island, we have The World That Never Was, we have the Keyblade Graveyard. I would say probably Dive to the Heart. That would be the one that I would choose. I know there are other options, but for me, Dive to the Heart would be the best choice. I think it was HMK that made a moveset and a stage list for Sora that brought up a stage that was even better than Destiny Island, but for the life of me, I can't remember what it was. I was listening to it, and I'm like, oh, that's so perfect! But until I can remember, I would say Dive to the Heart. Dive to the Heart or Destiny Island. Those would be my top two choices for a stage for Sora. Try to understand BlazBlue's lore? What the crap is that? Kingdom Hearts actually didn't get complicated for me till Dream Drop Distance when they introduced time travel. Oh my gosh. Dream Drop Distance, where everything went wrong. Here's the thing, is that everything was so easy to understand and everything was just nice and not complicated and didn't have to worry about anything with Kingdom Hearts, Chain of Memories, and Kingdom Hearts 2. And then 358 over 2 days came out, and yeah, it was still easy to understand. It wasn't too complicated. I mean, it was weird how it's like, okay, how does Xion disappearing, like, erase everyone's memories of her? Like, what made her disappear? What happened there? But it wasn't, like, hard to understand too much. And then Birth by Sleep came out, and it just created a completely new timeline. Like, even if it was easy to understand, it created an entirely new timeline. Then there's Union Cross, which is just like, oh boy, what's even going on? And then Dream Drop Distance, and it's just like, okay, they don't even know what they're doing at this point. Not even Nomura knows what's going on. Get me off of this ride, Nomura. Sakura will likely go into it a bit in the presentation anyways, if it is Sora. Oh... Say that again. Say if it's Sora, and then talk about Sakurai talking about Sora. Just fulfill my own confirmation bias, please. Destiny Island, that's who you would choose. HMK did a classic mode and Spirit Board 2. Yes, he did. I remember watching it, and I can't for the life of me remember all the details of it. Hold on, let me see who's winning right now. Holy crap, Mithra is getting destroyed. Byleth and Robin currently on top with 35 stocks, Inkling with 32, Min Min at 30. This is a wild game. This is a wild game. I sincerely doubt that Mithra is going to be able to win this one. I'm sorry, but the shovel is just better than a key. You take that back. You take that back right now. What if the 40-minute presentation is just Sakurai trying to explain the Kingdom Hearts lore? Yes! Yes! That would be the best. Sakurai trying to explain to fans, like no, nobodies can actually grow hearts now. Oh, I want to see that so much. Is it even more complicated than Five Nights at Freddy's? Five Nights at Freddy's has a lore? Like, what's the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's? I thought it was just like a haunted Chuck E. Cheese. Am I wrong in saying that? I think a little less, actually. So you're saying that the Kingdom Hearts lore is less complicated than Five Nights at Freddy's? What happens in that game? Like, I don't play Five Nights at Freddy's, and to be honest, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but now I'm just like, my curiosity has peaked a little bit. Like, what is so complicated about a haunted Chuck E. Cheese? I will not can you dig with a key and get money and ground turkey. I mean, you can open doors. Can you do that with a shovel? Can you open a lock that is the heart of a planet? Can you open the heart of a planet with a shovel? The answer to that is no, don't try. Who's had the coolest reveals trailer so far? I'm very biased, but I'm saying Sephiroth. The coolest reveal. Let me think about that one. I'm not going to say Steve. Mithra and Pyra, they were kind of drawn out. Even though I was super excited for their reveal, I wasn't, as hyped about their reveal trailer. Banjo's was cool, but not the coolest. Steve was just kind of like a shock factor. It wasn't really a huge reveal trailer as much as just like the character himself was a huge reveal. I'm going to say Min Min. I'm going to say that Min Min had the most hype reveal trailer because even though, like, at the very, very beginning, I saw that they were in the noodle shop and I'm like, okay, that's Min Min. But so many people didn't know, and so many people were like, who's the ARMS character? Who's that? Who's the character going to be? And, like, I could see Min Min standing in the corner of the room and I'm like, oh, okay, come on, it's Min Min, guys. And I still think that huge battle and the way that it was animated was so cool. So I'm going to say Min Min for that one. If any of the characters had the coolest reveal, I'm going to say Min Min. But I am going to say that Sephiroth is probably second. I'm trying to think of anyone else. Hero was cool. I would say Hero would be third. And Joker, yeah, I'm going to say that those are my top three for reveals. It would be wholesome if Sakurai gave us the roster recap at the end of the presentation. I actually expect that. I'm expecting an actual send-off to Smash Ultimate with this, and it's going to be so much fun. Which makes me think that maybe the last character isn't going to have a huge, complicated move set like with some of the other ones, just so that Sakurai can have more time to really celebrate Smash Ultimate, his life's project as a whole. And what do you guys think about that? The key is better when they can change into boards, bikes, whips, hammers, shields, guns, claws, staffs, and of course, most deadly of all, yo-yos. Wait, what was that? Was that in a game? Was that in a video game somewhere? A bunch of murders happen, souls possess, animatronic, etc. Too complicated to go for. But am I wrong in saying that it is a haunted Chuck E. Cheese? Am I wrong in saying that? Banjo's reveal was predictable. it was predictable, but then again, so was Min-Min's, so was Byleth, so was Pyramithra's to an extent. When I saw that the very first thing in that Nintendo Direct was Xenoblade, I was thinking to myself, there's no way. There's no way they're actually going to add Rex and Pyra to the game. I'm just getting too excited. There's no way it's happening right now. And then it did. And now I'm like, no way! It actually happened! Rex and Pyra got in! And then it turned out to be Pyramithra. But you know, I'm still going to say Rex got in. Like, he's in there. Rex got in. But yeah, just because it's predictable, it can still be really hype. Maybe not, but you can jump on projectiles and cancel it in the air bounce on an enemy and get an even stronger attack. You know, that probably sounds like Shovel Knight gameplay that I am not too sure about, so I will have to take your word for it for now, and then try Shovel Knight for myself once things get a little less hectic, of course. Revenant Child Murderer and time-traveling ball pits, that is Five Nights at Freddy's lore in a nutshell. Yeah, I should probably just stay away from that franchise in general. It's bad enough that I got into Kingdom Hearts. It's bad enough that I have one complicated lore to think about. I don't know if it's haunted or not. It sounds pretty haunted. Like, if it's like possession or anything like that, that sounds pretty haunted. Kingdom Hearts 3 form changes, and of course the Keyblade gliders. Is all that in Kingdom Hearts 3? Like, I know about the teacups and the boats and all that stuff, but can you do that in form changes? Okay, the armchair analysis says it's basically a haunted Chuck E. Cheese. Okay, that makes sense. Freddy Fazbear as a me. Now here's the thing, is that the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's said that he wanted to stay away from collaborations with other games for the time being and just focus on Five Nights at Freddy's game. So I would say don't get your hopes up for a Freddy Fazbear me costume. It is possible, like he could just be trolling us, just like we've seen with Bayonetta and with the Banjo voice actor. But I would still say, you know, I don't know if it's going to happen even as a me costume. With the Torador March as a soundtrack, if this is Sakurai's last Smash game, then I think there'd be a send-off, but going through all the games starting with 64, I don't know if it's going to be like that in-depth. Maybe like a really quick montage or something like that, but I don't think it's going to be like too long. I think it's just going to be like a 2-minute montage, something like that. If I did the math right, the other 27 minutes will be for the Smash reveal, his moveset, well, his or her moveset, the stage, gimmicks, and then that'll be it for Smash Ultimate. I keep looking over at my phone and it keeps like buffering, so I never know if I'm actually online or not. But I think that that's going to be it for me today. Let me know what you guys think. Is there anyone you're excited about? Anyone you're hoping for? Leave a like if you want. Anything helps. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys all for showing up today.